I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. Living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Evil!
Michael Myers is a well-known tunnel dweller needing assistance, but before Halloween Ends butchered his character, he was pure evil stalking babysitters in the dark. Today, I decided to go back and review the entire Halloween franchise, starting with the original from 1978. Does this movie hold up to current day entries? And what actually makes this movie so scary? Let's find out and get into it. Welcome back, I'm Sippin Ice, and spoiler alert for the movie released over 45 years ago. With a very small budget of only $325,000, Halloween managed to change the horror genre by striking fear into people with its use of more realistic horror. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not hiding under my blanket trembling with fear, but what I can say is that this movie is scary because of its premise. Stick with me, as later all will be revealed. The film kicks off with its title sequence backed by its legendary score, composed and performed by the always amazing John Carpenter. Halloween night 1963 sees a young couple initiating some romancing. All the while we follow the POV of a child dressed as a clown. As they enter the back of the home, they grab a butcher knife from the kitchen. Luckily for the dude having relations, he arrives to the station early and heads out the front door, as the boy heads upstairs to kill their older sister by stabbing her over and over. Afterwards, they head outside as their parents are off home. Their dad takes their mask off and we hear his name for the very first time in the franchise, Michael Myers. A doctor named Sam Loomis works as a psychiatrist at Smith's Grove Sanitarium alongside a nurse named Marion Chambers. As they drive towards the sanitarium, they talk of his patient, Michael Myers. In a spectacular shot, we see numerous patients scattered around the main gate. This shot in particular always stayed with me over the years, as it used to creep me out big time. It almost has a analog horror feel to it, with the graininess of the dark nighttime shot of the patients in their white nightgowns. As a buddy likes to say,
Bro, I'm getting the shakies.
Loomis jumps out of the car to investigate, and while Marion waits, someone jumps and climbs to the roof of the car.
What the hell is even that?
She rolls down the window to try and see what that noise was, only to get grabbed. She's able to wiggle out of their grasp and crawl to the ditch as the shape steals their car. All the while, the main theme plays. Chills, dude. The opening sequence to this movie has always been iconic to me. The score, the cinematography, everything was just so top notch. We meet the future Hall of Famer Laurie Strode as she heads out for school. Her dad, a realtor, has her drop off a key at the old Myers house as he's trying to sell it. Tommy Doyle, a boy she babysits, warns her not to approach the door. And boy was he ever right. As she does so, we watch from a perspective inside the home, and we hear the distinct breathing of pure evil. He found his target. The next scene places Laurie in her classroom being stalked by the shape. Throughout the film, we will see more of that, and it goes back to why this movie is as scary as it is. Part of it being the stalking, the waiting in the wind, Michael watching and learning his prey, as sadly stalking is a very real thing. As Loomis is searching for Michael, he stops at a payphone to warn the people of Haddonfield, but then sees a mechanic's truck off the road. We then see that said mechanic without his clothes. Michael killed the man and stole his clothes. Later, as Laurie leaves school, we meet her friends Annie and Linda. In a shot that I have never been able to take seriously, as it's just so damn silly. As they talk, Michael Myers just casually drives by watching them. Annie calls bro out with the line "speed kills," and dude slams on brakes.
Speed kills!
The fuck you say to me, you little shit?
He was ready to throw hands then and there, but decided, nah. Not yet. I love it so much, but it's just so random. Like, why did bro slam on brakes? Was my dude really contemplating hopping out the car?
Me and you.
But no, he wisens up and drives off. But where did he go? Laurie actually spots him standing there, lurking. But before Andy could see him, he vanishes behind a bush. Laurie arrives home, and as she goes to shut her window, she sees Michael yet again in her backyard this time. The stalking is crazy. The stalking is getting scary, as each time he has been growing closer and closer, showing us how he is getting closer to acting, to striking at his prey, and how he simply is becoming more bold and brazen. Bro doesn't care about hiding, and he doesn't care if Laurie sees him. That should and would scare anyone in that situation. What wouldn't scare you, however, is hitting that like button and subscribing if you find yourself enjoying the video. as it would make my day. Catching up with Dr. Loomis, we see him at the cemetery to check on Judith Meyer's grave. Upon arriving, we see her headstone has been stolen. Judith is Michael's sister, the girl he killed at the start. Seeing this, Loomis realizes he has come home. Michael is in Haddonfield. As Annie and Laurie drive down the street, they see cops at the hardware store. Her dad, Sheriff Brackett, informs them that someone has stole a Halloween mask, rope, and a couple of knives. They leave and Loomis arrives. He convinces him to join the hunt in finding Michael. This scene is terrific in more ways than one. One, it's shot very well with all of our lead characters involved, without even knowing of each other's presence. Another way is how we get yet another silly scene, dude. As Loomis waits for Brackett, Michael just kind of cruises by in his stolen car. Mind you, still the same car he stole from Loomis and Marion. It's so silly and it cracks me up every time because all Loomis had to do was turn around.
What?
Behind you! Look!
Oh my god!
I'm not going to mention this entire scene, but as Michael follows him, Laurie admits she has a thing for Ben Tramer. Yep, that Ben Tramer. It's here, Halloween night. Loomis and Bracken inspect the old Myers home in hopes of finding him, but he's actually currently stalking his daughter Annie as she begins her night of babysitting. But they do find some stuff. Sadly, a dog that he had to, well, eat, and the room he killed his sister in. After he gets jump scared, he pulls out the blaster, which is when he admits to Brackett that, yeah, he's scared. Don't worry, Loomis. I would be too, because who actually wouldn't be? Raise your hand if you wouldn't be scared in that situation. Put that hand down. Quit lying.
Mom, can you pick me up? I'm scared.
He tells us about when he met Michael, a 6-year-old boy that he could sense was just pure evil. Similar to Annie, Laurie has also started babysitting Tommy. She receives a call from Annie, who is babysitting Lindsay across the street. During this, Tommy sees the boogeyman as he stalks Annie, but when Laurie looks, nothing, because he is now at the back door just watching. That is until Lester the family dog begins barking. Michael then proves that he is nothing more than pure evil as he sends Lester to the big farm. Fun fact though, Laurie and Tommy are watching The Thing from Another World from 1951. And 4 years after Halloween, John Carpenter would go on to direct The Thing, a remake of that same film. Not so much fun fact, Annie took Lindsay over to Tommy's house for the rest of the night. No, that's not the bad thing. The bad thing is when she gets in the car to leave, Michael sits up and strangles her to death. I'm not going to mention this too much, but next is when Loomis busts out the iconic line to Lonnie, Tommy's bully.
Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
Later, we finally catch up to Laurie's other friend. Linda and her boyfriend Bob pull up to Lindsay's home in order to bump some uglies. Before that, Linda calls Laurie to ask where Annie is, but just get told that they have Lindsay's house all to themselves. So they proceed with the woohooing. After they finish, Bob heads downstairs to get a beer. What follows is one of the most iconic scenes in the Halloween franchise, albeit not realistic, but iconic nonetheless. Michael bursts out of a closet and pins Bob to a pantry door. He lifts him off the ground and stabs him deep in the gut, holding him to the door. He does his world-famous head tilt. Beautiful. Perfection. You just love to see it. Like, actually, this kill was always so cool to me.
Someone cooked here.
Going after Linda, Michael proceeds to wear a sheet over him while wearing Bob's glasses. Man loves his tricks. Linda, believing it to be Bob, isn't prepared for when Michael chokes her out while she's on the phone with Laurie.
No, this is Patrick.
2 more friends down, 0 left. Luckily, Loomis has found his stolen ride. Imagine he just gets in and just leaves. He just alright guys, I'm gone, dude. No seeing this, he knows Michael is in the area. He's close. Laurie decides to check in on her friends, so she heads across the street. Upstairs, she finds Annie's body purposely laid out with Judith's headstone. She also finds Bob and Linda and, well, Michael as he takes a piss poor swing at her. She rushes back to Tommy's as the shape slowly pursues her. This scene is extremely tense as we watch how long it takes for Tommy to come to the door, and we see Michael getting closer and closer. Laurie quickly asserts herself as a badass by stabbing him with a sewing needle, but he's not quite done. She tries tricking him by opening the balcony doors and hiding in a closet. This did not work. Bro smashing his way through, but being a quick thinker, she uses a clothes hanger to stab his eye, and then uses his knife to stab him. He falls back, seemingly dealt with. So she sends Tommy and Lizzie to go get help, and as she rests, Michael sits up. Seeing the kids running out of the house, Loomis knows what the piss is going on, so he heads over. He sees him choking Laurie out, but she manages to take his mask off, so he stops literally everything to put it back on, giving Loomis time to snipe him. He shoots him numerous times until he falls over the balcony. I just wish I knew how many times he shot him.
I shot him 6 times!
Loomis confirms to us that it was the boogeyman, only to see Michael is gone. The movie ends with static shots around all the houses as we hear Michael breathing. Halloween is a true classic in every sense. It has some amazing shots, and don't even get me started on the soundtrack. This movie is terrifying when looked at the premise of the film and the realistic nature of it. Firstly, it's just a man in a mask, no ghosts or ghouls here. Secondly, he doesn't have a motive. We don't know much about him or why he's doing it. He just gets fixated on his target and pursues them until the end. That is something that can and probably has happened before in life. So taking all that into consideration makes Michael Myers scary. He doesn't have a purpose. He's just evil and wants to destroy. I would have to rank Halloween a solid 10 out of 10. It's one of my most rewatched movies. Every October you can catch me watching this movie. But what are your thoughts on Halloween? Let me know down below, and as always, I appreciate your time, stay chill, and I will see you next time.